Hello, everyone. I want to give you some more information about the Congregational meeting coming this Sunday. And so after the service, we're going to have a potluck. Hope you bring a side dish to share. And then after the potluck is done, we are going to go back into the sanctuary for a 1-hour meeting. And that 1-hour meeting will have a number of elements to it. We're going to talk more about Serbia. We're going to talk about 2 major projects for us where we're hoping to get congregation members involved in some very particular projects to save some money, and hopes that we don't have to hire professionals to do those projects. But we want to get some feedback from you. And so we're going to make these presentations, and then we're going to get some feedback from you and hope that that will give us some kind of sense of where everybody is and how we can maybe save some money going into this next year. We're also going to give a financial update. We're going to walk through some updates on the proposed budget, and then we'll end the meeting with me giving a 12-month preview of what's coming in the next 12 months and the life of Oak Hills, and some things we want you to be aware of and be praying about and really be looking forward to. So a couple of items I want to share with you in regards to the proposed budget. Some of you are new to the church. You're not really familiar with what this little document is that we sent out last week, but this new proposed budget gives you, it looks like this. It gives you 2 years, previous year's budgets, and then the colored column shows you the proposed budget that we'll be voting on Sunday. So a couple things to highlight there. We were able to keep the budget flat, less than 1% increase going from the current fiscal year into the next year. And we were able to do that because we anticipate being out of debt or having the mortgage of the church paid off in March, and therefore being able to kind of pay ourselves into our own savings account for the remainder of the year. So between March, April, May, and June, we'll be able to make up some ground that way. So although inflation's high and utilities are up and everybody's raising their prices, we were able to give increases to our staff, we were able to give increases to our missionary partners, and still keep our budget overall pretty much flat, same as the current year. But there's some changes within, so we'll be talking about those a little bit. But the biggest thing that you probably want to be aware of is just the fact that it's the same going forward, but there's some important changes. And one of those important changes is that we're going to be out of debt, and that really has implications for ministry into the future. So we're excited about that. A couple of features I want to bring to your attention. We put the budget together in April, so we only have about 9 months. So from July 1 through April to really assess how spending's going, how ministries are doing. And we use this budget as really just a guide for the coming year's spending. Sometimes we anticipate spending more and we don't. And then every once in a while we need to spend more, although it's more than we actually budgeted for. We make adjustments as the year goes on. But it really helps us to communicate through leadership and to the congregation as to what we're doing and how those resources are being allocated, and sets us up with a plan. So as you look at this, there's some notes there you can take a look at. I want to highlight a couple of things. At the bottom of page 1, adult ministries, that's just a kind of a one-liner there, but adult ministries involves men's ministry, women's ministry, membership. It involves Sunday Forum, it involves Prime, and it involves all of our small groups. And so you'll see that in the last couple of years, we've done some major increases there within those budgets, and those have gone well. We're excited about that. However, some of those ministries just didn't grow, or they just didn't spend. They didn't need to spend what they had maybe anticipated. So adult ministries in general is trending at about 60% of their budget. So that's an example of we anticipate some things, and they maybe don't go the same way we think, but we're going to keep those budgets the same going forward in hopes that those resources are available when those ministries, when they need it, they'll have the resources available. Kids ministry, student ministry, they're both trending at about 70% spent, but we're keeping those ministries the same because those are priorities and want to make sure that they have the resources they need. But we don't spend dollars that we don't need. So although they have, ministry has $13,000 in its budget, it doesn't mean that it goes out and spends that. It means that it has that, But as the year unfolds, that reality becomes more clear whether they need or don't need those resources. Also want to draw your attention to the outreach ministry section on page 2. So you'll see Riverside there, only $1,500 for the whole budget year. When you see that number, I don't want you to think that that's not a priority. Riverside Ministries is a significant priority. We're excited about what God is doing up there and how we have been invited into those spaces and how God's opening doors. But right now, the need is not so much cash flow as it is people being with people and being present in those ministries up there. And so every ministry has different needs in season and out of season, and they change here and there, but don't allocate or don't conclude that if a ministry has a few dollars that it's not a priority, because that's just not the case. If you go down a couple more lines, LBA, Laura B. Anderson Elementary School, has no dollars. And the reason is that we take a collection each year. Every November, we take a collection for that ministry, and that money goes into a savings account, and they use those dollars to do what they need to do and what they're invited to do at the school. But just because there's $0 there doesn't mean that LBA is not a priority. It absolutely is a priority. It just has a unique backdrop of how that ministry has kind of come about and kind of how it operates. The next ministry down is Cherub's Closet. Cherub's Closet has a large budget in comparison, and that's our diaper distribution every third Saturday. Well, since COVID, that ministry hasn't had the same volume of distribution as it did previous to COVID. And we're not exactly sure why, but right now they're trending at about 60% spent for the current fiscal year. We're not reducing their budget for the coming year, but that's an example of we don't just spend money because it's allocated. We only spend what we need, but we anticipate that God might be doing something new or more in the coming year, and so those resources are available. So when you look through the budget, we have made assessments on increases and decreases based off of what we want those leaders to have, what we want that staff member to have, and what we're hoping that God will do. And that just provides a guide for us and an opportunity to communicate about those individual items and those particular dreams and visions for the various aspects of ministry. So that's a quick overview. Thank you for watching this. I hope that you're coming on Sunday. Hope that you'll plan to be there and be a part of it. Reach out with any questions that you have. I want you to feel comfortable in emailing or calling one of the council members, calling myself. Of course, there'll be an open mic during the meeting to answer questions or ask questions and get clarifications as well. But again, thanks for listening to this. I hope that helps, and I look forward to our time together on Sunday.